Hey everybody, my name's Kath, and we've added a lot of really cool things to Jules over the last month or so I just wanted to walk you through some of that. And I'm going to do that with this app that I just built, which mimics Space Invaders. So I'm calling this Jules Invaders for now. And I'll just walk you through a little bit of what I've done. So I've asked Jules to create a Space Invaders game, and I said it should replicate 80s gameplay design. And so what it's done, we added this thing called web search. And so Jules now has the ability to go out on the internet and research things that it needs. And so I asked it to do this. I asked it to research Space Invaders gameplay. So it's gone out and done that. And then it comes up with its classic plan, and I've approved that plan. I didn't ask it to add sound effects, so I think that's kind of cool that it did this. It researched that, saw that other games have sound effects, and implemented that. And here, it's also going out and finding what it should be using for its sound effects. And so it comes up, it searches for additional documentation, finds additional sound effects there, and then it came up with this design here. And so what it's done is it cloned my repository in a VM, coded there, and then took a screenshot of the game that it built. And this is okay, but I don't quite think it matches the original game design that I wanted. So after it was done with this task, I just kept going. I said, hey, the design doesn't look like the original Space Invaders game. Can you match this? I gave it a little bit of reference material. So it says, thanks for that, comes up with an additional plan. And then it came back with this. And it also is inspecting the front end changes visually. So we've added screen verification. So what Jules can do now is after it's done implementing this app, it takes a screenshot of what it's built. And here it's actually playing the game. So it's written a playwright script for it to go through and play the game to validate that it's working. And Jules comes with a coding agent, obviously. And we also shipped a Critic Agent recently. So the Critic Agent works adversarially with Jules to check its work as it's going. And so some of the critics' recommendations to Jules will happen before I even see Jules's code, but some of them will get reflected in code review. And then that feedback will go to Jules. And I get to see the code review assessment from the critic to Jules. And I think in this case, it actually came back with some additional steps, or maybe not. But in some of these, it came back with additional steps, and Jules kept going. So I ended up publishing this PR. This is one of the first ones that I did for this game. Let me show you the game here. It actually works. This game is not what Jules actually coded for me. Like the original one didn't have a play again button. It didn't have some of the game mechanics that I wanted. So over in Jules, what I did was I kicked off a bunch of parallel tasks as I was building this. So I added a play again button. I improved some of the game design. I added continuous shooting. At first, it was you had to click the space bar every single time you wanted a bullet to shoot at the aliens. So I added continuous shooting. I added a high score, etc. And I added a lot of this stuff in parallel so that I could get a lot of this done fast. So this took probably about 30 minutes to code, and then I got it to a place where I was pretty happy with it. And the last thing that I added was the ability for as soon as the alien block hits the side of the screen, it'll start to move faster. And so I want it to advance through the levels pretty quickly. And I also added, I was pretty vague with it as I was asking it to add these tasks, and it picked up on pretty much everything I wanted to do. And one of the reasons for that is because we've added memory. And so this is called knowledge. And so if you go to the project settings and you click on knowledge, you'll get there. And so it's storing information and basically specs and decisions that Jules and I have made together. And so it's saying, okay, I'm going to increase the difficulty. This is when it hits the wall, I'm going to increase the speed, etc. And then here I said, level progression is triggered, and Jules actually said when 8 or when 10 or fewer aliens remain, and I changed that to 8. And so you can see that's reflected here that I was the last one to edit that. And if I wanted to edit it again to make it harder, I can say when 15 or fewer aliens remain. And so memory is updated. So now when Jules codes, it will remember that that is one of the rules that Jules and I worked on together. So that's some of the things that we've added recently for Jules, making it a lot easier, removing some of the friction, and making it a lot easier to code some of these projects. Hope you guys enjoy it.